On this episode of Mr. Hustle podcast, we have a San Antonio native, local, who's a good friend of mine, Anthony Hernandez, aka Real Estate Hero. We're going to talk about how he went jobless, unemployment, that his wife held him down from a duplex to the house they're living in now, making $250,000 a month in wholesaling. And the crazy part is on how they're making big deals when it comes to title work and title abstract. Stay tuned, check out this podcast, and as always, turn up the hustle. Welcome to Turn Up the Hustle podcast, where real estate investors and entrepreneurs share their stories, strategies, and their mindset behind their hustle. I'm Michael Yanis, aka Mr. Hustle. To my right, I got my guy Skylar Moon.
Let's go.
And today's special guest, my boy, San Antonio native, San Antonio local, holding it down. My boy Anthony. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How y'all?
Good, man. One, I appreciate you being on this podcast. We've known each other for some time. How many years?
Ooh, man, it's probably, I want to say since I first got in the game, or probably
When you first started real estate?
I want to say, about 5 years more.
Okay, so 5 years in real estate.
less.
We've done deals together, but I want to go deep dive into who's Anthony,
Okay.
really who's Real Estate Hero,
Let's do
right?
it.
Because that's your branding, right?
Yeah, let's do
And I
it.
see the stuff that you post and Real Estate Hero. But before we go into that, who is Anthony?
Man, Anthony is from a real estate side or just...
You tell me.
Man, Anthony is a kid who grew up in the south side of San Antonio, born with a mom who kind of was a single family household. I learned basically I had no choice but to grow up at a young age, hustled, did a lot of entrepreneur style jobs, and grew up faster than I would have liked to. Now that I'm older, I realize that that's what happens when your mom's kind of the only one
Right.
there. So that's who Anthony is, someone who kind of just understands the struggle, understands what it takes to get out from the bottom. I identify with the people, and so that's kind of what I stick to, bro, that's something I won't let go, is I'm part
You
of that.
said entrepreneur stuff. What type of stuff is that?
Man, so when I first started, I was door knocking, selling those big old giant jugs of candy.
I remember that.
And I would door knock on someone's house or go to the car wash, and my whole goal was to put as many items as I could into your hands so you felt like you were getting a deal. But those were all the freebies that we were allowed to give.
Was that trained? Well, was that you or was that like a company? I always realized on how that worked.
So I had called a number and a reporter back in the day when these newspapers came out, and it was a little company, and then it'd be a guy who would get everything from China, and then we would go and either behind his truck in this really shady parking lot, we'd all meet up, and then he would give everybody a bucket and fill it up from his trunk, and then we'd all get different sections of San Antonio to go work the block, and then they'd come pick us up. And if you had your box sold, you get paid that day cash. And you could do it before you were like 16, and the dude would just pay you cash. And so that's what I would do, that, and then work at a convenience store stocking. But that was one of my first hustle jobs that I learned. I was like, man, and this cash was good because you're getting, at that age, I was probably maybe 13, getting about $60 a day. I felt like I was balling.
That's
I
cool,
didn't
man.
know what
I always
to
wonder
do.
how those things work. And they provided training, or you did it on your own?
No, we would stand in a circle and we would try to upsell each other with a product. And so it'd be one guy in the middle, and he would move around and he'd be like, hey, sell me this product. And we would sell him, he'd be like, all right, stop there, you messed up. Sell me this product. You messed up. And he would go in a circle until everybody heard everybody's flow.
Like Wolf of Wall Street style, man. Sell me this Twix.
Yeah, it was
Right.
cool. And then one of the biggest takeaways I got was if you make people feel like they're getting a deal, they'll most likely take the bargain. And so he would say, hey, this is the item we're selling. Say it was cologne for $20. I'd give you the cologne. I say, you know what? I have a special for guys that are wearing black shirts today, and our company said we can do this. I'm going to throw in this item and this item for absolutely free, man, just because your shirt's black. And this guy's holding it with stuff stacking up.
It reminds me of a time that, I'm embarrassed to even say this, that I got hustled
Oh,
by somebody. It reminds me of similar situations. There was these sales guys. It was here in San Antonio off of the gas station on the corner of Perrin Vital and Thousand
don't tell me
Oaks.
what I think it is. Like TVs and stuff?
Radios.
Oh, yeah.
So they come up to the car. Man, we got this special. They got this truck full of or a van full of boxes. You can Google it right now or get on eBay and check it out. This was way back in like 2000s, right? So check it out on eBay. How much it's worth? This thing's worth like $5,000. We're running a special today. Get it for like $750. You're not gonna get. You can even go resell it if you want to. So I started looking it up and everything, and sure enough, it was a good brand. Whatever. Put it in the truck. Give them the cash. Go. Full of bricks whenever you open them. Say nothing in it.
I remember those stories. This happened to someone else I knew. They said they got all this extra merchandise. It was too much they need.
Yep.
They got to get rid of it. They don't want to take it back to the company so they can just make side money. That's crazy.
Damn.
Okay.
Bricks in there.
So San Antonio, single mom, obviously hustle mind, spirit, right? Hustle goals.
Yeah.
And first real job.
First real job, I would say I was working at a convenience store. I was the guy who would put on that coat jacket and be in the back and stock all the sodas and all the beers and fill it up the thing with ice. And I was doing it probably as soon as I could. I was like 15, working at my first job, bro, at a convenience store.
What was your job before real estate?
Before real estate, I worked at IBC Bank. I was a supervisor. Then I became a manager for the card services department. And I managed maybe about 20 people. It was a cool job, but it wasn't it for me, bro.
Well, let's stick to that job because isn't that a Fortune 500 company?
It is.
Right?
It is. It's a good company. It's one of the biggest banks in Texas, started in Texas in El Paso. I was literally working under the vice president, and I had a chance, I think today if I was there, it probably would be the vice president because he ended up standing down.
Oh, wow.
After a while. I was under him, so that was like the next thing to go. But
How'd you even get in that role?
man, I started out working in the bookkeeping department, and I was just doing bookkeeping, and it was so easy for me. And I happened to fill out another position. Manager hired me. I was doing great. That manager ended up quitting. I took her position, and then I just got lucky being understanding the job and the role, but also just being in the right position at the right time. Once I got there, bro, I was like, this is it. I got my cushy job in the office, the corner. I got my stable hours. I was like, this is it.
Made it.
I made it.
Yeah.
I made it. Like, hey, I got the suit. I was wearing suits with the tie. I was there buying, the slacks, going to dealers. I thought I was important, bro. And I just knew there was something more. And once I started getting the pay raise and stuff, I was like, man, there still has to be something more. But I was also really bad with tardiness, bro. I was late a lot, dude. And then when I became the manager, I probably was late even more.
You were late to this podcast, man.
I was late to this podcast. And so that's kind of what happened is I was taking a vacation to Las Vegas with my brother who passed away now. And I had the day off. I had booked my flight. I came in just to help start the team because they were on a project. We were in the middle of the Visa conversion when the chip was barely getting installed. So we were part of the whole EMV conversion, and we were doing all the underwriting for it, writing all the contracts between IBC and Visa. So I was like, well, they were mad that I was taking a trip. So I went in on my day off. I was late. Because I was late, it put me in this probationary period. They called me into the office, and my VP's like, hey, I'm getting a call from the top. You can't go on vacation. And I was like, but it's my day off. He was like, well, since you clocked in, it deducted your time and it puts you in this probation status. I was like, so what do I do? He goes, well, if you leave, they're saying, hey, they're going to terminate. I was like, because at this time, I'm the only manager there. Everybody got let go. Now I'm running half the floor. And so I'm like, man, our flight was booked. I'm leaving at 12. This is 10:30. We got to get to the airport. And so I just filled out this information. I filled out a letter, and I took it to my VP, and I said, hey, here's my letter of resignation. I was like, I got to go. It's my trip. He sat down. We had a heart-to-heart. And he told me these 3 words that changed my life and got me into real estate. He said, you're great at what you do. You're a fast learner. And because you're good with people, you'll go a long way. But unless you're your own boss, you'll always have to answer to somebody, and you'll have to be on time. Until then, you're going to have to answer somebody in your next journey. I'm sorry it didn't work. And long story short, I left with that on my shoulder. So I had to figure out a way to become my own boss. And that's how we got here today.
That's pretty cool, right?
That's
That's actually pretty cool. I didn't even know. I mean, I've known you for years. I didn't even know that story.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool, especially how you tie it in. You're always being tardy. And by him saying that, really sparked the conversation. All right, let me go into full-blown entrepreneur mode.
Yep.
Why real estate? At all the entrepreneur modes out there, why real estate?
Well, when that happened, we went to Vegas. We came back. And at the time, my wife was like, don't even worry about it. She was a nurse. She's like, I got it. I'll hold it down. And I'm like, cool. So I was on unemployment. We're working. We downsized houses. We ended up living in a duplex, bro. And it ended up being roach infested. And we were probably living in like a 400 square foot unit. We downsized from a house to save money. I was on unemployment. My wife was working as a nurse. And I said, okay, there has to be something I can do. I remembered that she had a brother-in-law at one time who did a wholesale that didn't know what he was doing, but somebody had gave him a contract, and he called net worth. They gave him like $2,500 and they made like 30 grand. And I said, wait a minute, he was on to something. He just didn't know what he was doing. So I just literally started Googling inside this little center block shack, bro. And I'm Googling what can I do, and I saw realtors. And I was like, well, I don't want a license.
And this is your first time hearing about wholesaling?
First time.
And
I
what is this?
didn't even hear about wholesale. What I did was I ended up
You saw
reading
the
a
concept.
website called Bigger Pockets.
Bigger pockets.
And it taught me how to be a bird dog. And so I started being a bird dog, and I started writing down addresses, and I was sending them New Western. And then they were like, hey, this is a good deal. And then, you know, I started working, and I realized I can do this shit on my own.
At the time?
Yeah. And then I started finding my own deals. And then boom, bro, we hit a stride. I came up with my own letter. I sprayed cologne, which is a whole nother story.
Oh, yeah, I remember those tricks, man.
And bro,
yeah, I remember those tricks. Yeah.
They would call, dude, and they'd be like, you know, most of the times the ladies will call you back if it smelled good enough. And bro, that's how I started doing it.
I'm obviously newer to this industry.
I had no money for marketing. I'm on unemployment. I can't afford a CRM. I didn't know what it was. I thought I was just bird dogging. So I drop her off at work, write addresses down, and then when I got home, I'd go to BCAD, look it up, and if they had a secondary address, I was writing the letter to them, and I'd hand sign it, and they would call me back because they said, "Hey, it's wet ink, bro."
This is definitely. What year was this?
This was my first year in real estate.
2020, 19.
What are we in 2025? I would say like what 2019, 2020. What are you thinking?
2019.
Yeah, 2019.
So 2019. Yeah, that was not too not too long ago, but it's still some time.
Yeah.
Now after that, everything got panned, yellow letters. You can order bulk mail, but back then it was old school. You had to write it down and going above and beyond.
Sending mail back in like 2005.
Yeah. There was no REI print mails yet. All that stuff.
All those
wasn't
yellow
there.
letters. Hit of a button. You get 1,000 postcards go out instantly. Back then it was actual manual. Let's talk about before we go more into wholesaling. You said your wife held you down.
Yeah.
So safe to say you wouldn't be here without her?
Bro, it's safe to say that I'm here because of her. You know, I will say that if you have the right partner and they push you and they are telling you, hey, do what you got to do, it goes a long way, especially as a man. When we have somebody that we can trust from currency, finances, secrets, all that kind of stuff, you can't buy it. And so when she said that, I just went full-fledged. Keep in mind, I'm on unemployment. I'm trying to pay half the bills. She was still making good money. She could have afforded it all, but she didn't take it from me. She said, okay, if you still want to pay it on your unemployment, do it. She didn't take that, and so I still paid. But when it came to like going out to buy food and she wanted to go to these fancy restaurants, she was taking us. And so because of that, I never forgot. And so now whatever she wants, I'm like, here you go. But if it wasn't for that safety net, if you will, I might not have had the bandwidth or the time to do what I did. I would have had to work faster.
That's major.
Yeah, no. I mean, Erica's obviously a good person, right? We've been to her house, had dinner. So, I mean, you guys are what I call a power couple, right? I mean, you guys are one. When I see your Instagram, I see her Instagram. You guys are doing this together. And it's cool that she works in the office with you, right? You guys work together on the River City stuff. Man, shout out to, can't do what you do, right? I'm in the same position. I mean, you know my wife. So we can't do what we do without the wife. So definitely shout out to Erica. All right, talk about your first wholesale. You learned about it, you net worth, you became a bird dog. What did you decide, all right, let me get my very first own contract?
My very first contract was 1610 Loma Vista. It's no longer there. It's a piece of dirt now. It's land. They demoed it. I was in the west side across the street from the courts. I got it driving around for dollars. Some lady was in an ice cream truck. She stopped me, called me mijo, and then she said, hey, follow me. I got a house for you. I literally just followed this lady into the west side. It was super shady because she had like two guys. They jumped in the car with her. We follow into the west side, and then she gets there to this one-bedroom house. It was 569 square feet. And she's like, pásale. And I'm like, you know, I see these two guys, and it's just me. And I'm like, all right, if this is how it goes, this is how it goes. And we walked it, bro. I ended up getting it under contract for $12,000. And I ended up selling my first deal, and it was only like $5,000. And once I did it, I was like, okay, there's something bigger here, and I need to know more because I probably should have kept that house for $12,000 now that I know. But that was my first deal, and so that was my proof of concept. And then once I did that, Power of Three came in, and I started just selling houses in the West Side. And I just kept on going, bro, and it was like it just kept on going. I was like, wait a minute, this works. And the mailers were hidden. And so before you know it, I started door knocking. You know, I never was afraid. But that was that first deal that killed it for me. And it wasn't a big one, but when you're on unemployment and you take home a $5,000 check just from the hustle of driving, and you tell your wife, hey, we got something here, I felt like Conor McGregor, bro. Get the red panties out. You know what I mean? We're doing it.
That's a good one.
At what point did you get into flipping houses? You flip? No,
Yeah.
don't you?
So
How did that come about?
the way flipping is, and a lot of people don't want to admit this. So when I first started as a wholesaler, I hated the stigma of people being like, "Oh, you're just a wholesaler," and "Oh, you're just a middleman," and "Oh, this." So that was ringing in my head. I hated that notion, so I said, okay, I need to flip a property because I don't want that identity. I want to show people I can flip, use my own money, and basically convert what I did in wholesale. So then, boom, we got our first flip.
How long in did it take before you started wholesaling?
Hustlers, real estate investing doesn't have to be overwhelming, and you don't have to do it alone. If you've been watching from the sidelines, scrolling past deals on Zillow, or binging YouTube videos, but still not taking action, this is for you. That's why we built Hustle Academy, a community designed for new and experienced real estate investors who want to learn, network, and grow. Inside Hustle Academy, you'll get weekly live calls, Q&A sessions, and step-by-step classes on fix and flip, wholesaling, creative finance, and my favorite, subject to deals. Everything you need to know to build real skills and start closing real deals. You'll join a powerful group of like-minded hustlers who are sharing wins, breaking down deals, and all pushing toward the same goal, financial freedom through real estate. If you're ready to level up, no matter what stage you're starting at, join Hustle Academy today. Tap the link in the description or visit hustleacademy.com and let's trump the hustle together.
I would say I wholesaled for a year.
Okay.
And then the next year I did my first flip. And I did the hard money loan with Jade. She came through and she approved everything. I got my first flip with her. And it went to shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people don't say these stories, but I'm cool with it because I know what we did wrong. And it was a great flip. We got under contract in the very first week. It was beautiful. Erica designed it. Everybody loved it. I messed up on the foundation, and it ended up taking us 6 months to get it done. And it was one of those moments where it's like, well, you know, one of the questions was, it was a moment where I had to just persevere because we ended up going out of budget. We completed it in budget, but the length of time on 6 months of the holding costs and expenses, the interest rates, you know, hard monies, it put us over where we needed to be. So now we're out of pocket because every inspection came back and every lender and every inspection had something different for us to fix. And so it was a hard lesson that I learned, but we still made money. We ended up making about, I think at that time, like 60 grand.
On the flip?
Even with the mess
even
ups?
with everything, because I had contracted the deal. It was 1110 Clower. And we contracted it low. I think I had it at the time at like $40,000.
And you sourced it yourself?
I sourced it myself, and so that was how I got it so low.
Yeah, most flippers typically buy from a wholesaler, but you are the wholesaler / flipper. Clower, was that over at Los Angeles Heights, right?
Yeah, right here by San Pedro.
Yeah, San Pedro. Cool, man. 60 G's on a flip that took a lot of time. And
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. But still, I mean, 60 G's.
What was your original timeline?
90 days.
Okay, so it's double that almost.
Yeah.
And what was the original estimated net?
Original estimated net, we thought we were going to walk away with 110, bro.
So about 50% off.
Yeah.
Double the time and 50% off.
And a California investor ended up buying it sight unseen. So our 6 months when we finally sold it, it was a California investor. She bought it sight unseen. She still owns it now and still rents it out. But it was still tough just because I had multiple foundation guys.
Yeah.
And it just didn't level out. And man, it killed me, dude.
That's the raw stories that we like to hear because obviously I teach the flipping side in the academy. And, you know, a lot of people think that, oh man, I got this house, it's got so much spread, and I can get it done so fast and all this stuff. But like you said, when you get into it, it becomes real fast. And, you know, I had my own learning experiences when I started flipping and, you know, contractors that you think are good guys, family friends, people you've known forever. And, you know, just one thing leads to the next. And it really eats into the time is what people don't realize. People think that, you know, 'cause especially when you get started doing a flip, it just feels like you have so much time. Time goes by so fast when you're flipping. You're waiting on a permit, it takes a week. That just burned a whole week of your time. Or contractor goes and picks up a side gig and now he's missing from the site for 3 or 4 days. And so there's so many little things. And people who are new to it don't realize how much that money costs you. But those costs add up extremely quick. And so for most guys who are flipping who don't have the 110K spread, they've got a 20K spread. I mean, you're upside down
quick,
very
fast. So that's a good story.
Well, the good thing on us in the Hustle Academy, we got this deal calculator, right? And everything's itemized, right? From how many days we hold the property, on how much taxes per day, from the
all the way
water
down to
bill,
mowing the
light
lawn.
bill. Yeah, all the way, water bill, light bill, mowing the lawn, prorated
All the
insurance.
cost.
It's really, really detailed. So, I mean, if you guys watching, and check that out in the Hustle Academy.
That's
All
gonna
right.
be real
So
helpful,
you done
bro.
wholesale, you done flip. Which one you like better?
I think they have different strategies. You know, if you're flipping to keep it or you're just a straight flip to sell, it just depends on your cash and your margins. But for me, I'm more of a guy that'll take a quick nickel over a long dime over that time period. So if I can wholesale and make 20 to 40K, which is probably an average flipper spread is 40 to 60 maybe,
Yeah.
I'm going to wholesale most of the time. But if it's a flip and I got margins where there's a chance I'm keeping 80% of that margin, probably going to flip it if I have it, low enough on the
Right.
entry.
Well, let's talk about your operations. So you know what we do here, right? We got 6 acquisitions, 2 dispo. What's it like in River City? Because you do both. You do wholesale and you flip, so you get the opportunity, just like I get the opportunity.
Yeah.
We get a lot of wholesale deals in our office. Skylar and I will pick the ones we're going to cherry pick to flip, and the rest we wholesale. How does that look on your end?
From like an acquisition perspective, so our camp is actually not a large camp. I think a lot of people think because the volume that we do and what we do from a content perspective to actually showing how many properties we're on, they think we're a huge camp. My camp on average, is, including my wife, is probably going to be 4 people. And I'm pretty much wearing multiple hats. And even when we've hired people, we've learned that the turnover is something that's inevitable. And so when the turnover happens, you're like, okay, now I got to put that hat back on. And so I find myself in a growing stage where I'm having to switch hats until I find the right position. So the way our company operates now is we have a lot of inbound leads. And we've also recently got a partnership with Newly Leads, and they also funnel us a lot of great leads. Shout out to Newly. And then we also have our PPC campaign that we have. And then I also developed this own little proprietary way where I use AI. And the AI actually is pulling a lot of my deals in, and we're literally just able to call it and talk to the seller direct and get contracts a lot faster. So between that, and then disposition-wise, I think that's probably our bottleneck is our volume's higher than our output of dispo. So that's when I look to camps like you guys and say, hey, we have a little influx of volume. Can you guys move 2 or 3 properties? And y'all guys are so great at disposition that to me, it's a marriage.
Yeah, I'm glad that people like yourself are open-minded. Hey, you have so much volume, and why bog down so much? Sometimes you got to just call it. I mean, we've done 6 figures the past couple of years, right? The past couple of years, I just JV'd on some deals. That one crazy one was the last one we did. That was a crazy one.
It was.
California buyer, right? California buyer bought a selling scene. I think they're done with it now. But talk about what you're doing today. We know you wholesale. We know you flip. What's this title stuff you're doing? This novation stuff. Talk a little bit about that title.
So right now, what we're doing right now is we're working with title abstracting. So a lot of stuff I'm doing is title abstracting and term deals. So we've switched our strategy.
For people don't know what that means. What does title abstract mean?
So title abstracting work is we're actually identifying problem properties that have issues with the title, and we're going to go and solve those issues in order to get the title successfully cleared and then capitalize from it.
How do you find a property that has title issues? Because everyone can pull a list, right? We can pull a list, high equity, prop stream, portfolio, but what filters to identify that's a title house?
So, if you were looking from a prop stream perspective, you could probably pull a probate list. You could pull a divorced marriage list. You can go and pull tax delinquency lists. Keep it real simple and look for your tax delinquencies with the highest balance and see if maybe those people are not paying because maybe they died. And so from there, there's also things one thing we've done is Zillow. People don't realize Zillow is such a powerful tool. Whenever we've seen properties that are 100+ days, we know something's going on, right? And so keeping it real surface level, if you call and you find out, hey, we can't, or my grandmother died and we try to sell it, I thought I was the owner. We're like, okay, so we know there's an abstract of title. Can you send us that title commitment so we can take a look at it? And if it's something we can clear, then we partner with those people sometimes and see if we can do a deal.
What does that mean, partner with people?
So like a JV, the way you and I can JV a deal, we can JV with the actual people just to help them abstract the title. Yeah, abstract the title with the seller. And so between that and term deals, bro, it's pretty cool.
Explain the second one.
So term deals, because the wholesale and where the market's at right now, we've switched a lot of our strategy. Instead of just purely cash offers, we offer terms. And so we use my trilateral sales strategy, which is 3 different ways to get the deal. And we're offering term deals, which helps us because now we're getting properties for $2,500 down, $2,000 down, $5,000 down. We put a balloon on the back end and we get the property. And guess what? I'll be honest, there's a ton of buyers that are buying on terms so fast.
Yeah, because without a down, right? Without qualifying. Right? No qualifying, no hard money, no DTI.
Nothing. Yeah. And so now the seller that's involved, we're doing maybe a 36-month. Maybe we do a 4 years, somewhere between there. But we've learned the sweet spot is 36 months to 5 years. And then we give them a down, and usually we're getting no interest. And then we can sell the term deal, or I can take down the term deal, or I can take out a loan against the property. It opens up everything.
Yeah, it's creative, real creative.
What's your primary exit strategy on those deals?
On the term deals, man, we create the note on there and either sell the note or hold the note. We got some really good note buyers, so I work with a group of guys that have been really teaching me the strategies of how to really do seller financing. And they've been showing me some in and outs, and I love the way you're able to move those notes around. It's a whole different side of real estate.
A lot of flexibility, yeah.
Yeah, and so, or I can just go take out a loan against it.
Because you own it now.
Because I own it after that. Now. Yeah. Yep. And my entry price was so low that, shoot, it doesn't matter after that, bro. And so, yeah, doing term deals, you can either decide to keep some, or we can flip with a low entry, flip the house, and so it gives us a lot more.
We have a lot of people that watch this program that are typically newer, right? They've either haven't done a deal yet or barely doing 1 or 2 deals. Was there ever a time when you were in this, either new or after a couple years into it, that you were like, dude, you had either a killer deal that was terrible that dragged you down, or something that just said, man, maybe this isn't the right thing for me? Is there ever a time that it was hard, or you've just been pumping out deals left and right since you started?
Nah, man. There was one time, I want to say in maybe my 3rd year in real estate, we were renovating our home, and we had just bought a home after I got into wholesale. I want to say in the first year, I started doing really good. I bought a home like right after that, right out the gate. I didn't buy a fancy car. I didn't buy myself nothing for probably 3.5 years when it came to cars and stuff. But I bought a home with my very first bunch of wholesale money that I put together and said, okay, let's get a house. I ended up getting a house through a term deal, and I ended up renovating it. Well, I got really into the renovation. I spent a ton of money. I want to say, well, what would you say, Love? Close to 6 figures on that renovation? It's 3,000 square foot home. Just my first house, bought it. Keep in mind, we came from this duplex that I had just got us out of, and I spent a ton on the renovation. Right after that, I got hit with a lawsuit. And so I started to think to myself after that, and I said, fuck, hold on. I'm getting sued for $160,000. Okay. All right. I'm checking out my bank account. I'm like, well, I spent another, I spent 80, 90 on the house. I said, okay, what am I getting sued for? And so that was a moment that I was like, all right, I need to make more money and I need to be more careful. But it was one of those moments that I had, to your question, is like, man, if you want to do this, you got to button up. If you want to do this, selling is only one part of it. The other part of it is learning the laws and what not to do. And so I was so into the money and hustling that I never said, hold on, let me educate myself on what could happen if I get bit in the ass. And I got bit in the ass.
What, if it's not too much, what was the suit
about? Same thing, yeah. I was about to say, what lawsuit, man?
So this is really cool. This will really help protect everybody watching, students, wholesalers, protect yourself. I share this story because I wanted everybody to know this is how you protect yourself. This is how I got in trouble. Never text your deal over text, bro. Text is only to get them on the phone, right?
Well, break down. Never text a deal. What do you mean, like the discount side?
So keep in mind, so just to kind of give you context of the story, there was this lady. She was probably about 50 years old. She was really nice. They were going to demo her home. It was on a code compliance list. We did a door knock. She happened to still live there, even though she wasn't. Called the code officer. They're like, hey, she's not supposed to be in the house.
Inhabitable, whatever.
Inhabitable, yeah. So we made a deal on the land only. I said, hey, they're going to demo your house. We're going to let the city demo. We're going to make you an offer on the land. She accepted it. This was during Christmas time. So we told her that we'll give her the money, and here's the balance. The demo cost is going to be $15,000. Here's the balance from the city. we're not going to pay your demo fee. However, we'll give you an advance because she needed money for the holidays. So that was our first issue, is never do an advance. We gave her an advance for Christmas.
How much advance?
I want to say at the time the advance was like $5,000. And we withheld the balance for the demo. And it was with title or whatnot. And so that's part of what happened. So once that went through, the actual financing partner, which was my buying partner we were working with, he demoed it himself during the holidays. Well, in him demoing it himself, he created his invoice with his company. The invoice was congruent to what the other invoice was. However, she wasn't happy because when she got her payout, it was less than what she thought the demo cost was going to be. So now she's saying, now she goes ahead and sues for misrepresentation. Now, we had a winning case because she signed everything. She went through title. Title had recorded conversations. Title's laws involved because she's trying to sue title and us, saying that we were in cooperation to buy her house and to demo it. And we're like, you had demo orders. So the city got involved and it got really messy. Long story short, what got us in trouble was my business card. Your business card, if it says buy, sell, and invest, and you don't actually put your LLC corporation number, if you call yourself an agent, you're not an agent. If you call yourself an investor and at the time you tried to buy the property, you don't have the funds in your bank account, all of that stuff can be used where they're going to say you really had no intention. You also misrepresented yourself. So luckily, we had the cash at the time through my partner. He was able to provide all the funding. What still got us was that my text messaging, the judge had a time to read everything, and he was saying, I interpret this as you sounding like a broker. And I said, how? He said, well, you're buying a house, and when I look up the definition of buying a house with a company, it says you should be a broker. And so he goes, and I said, wow. And so that's the part that got us. And so she wanted $160,000, and she wanted her house and the property back. The house was gone. It was just the land.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to go to court. This was, I think, before COVID. And it was that 21 year. And then we ended up settling it out for like 10 grand. This was during Christmas. So she had the richest Christmas that she could get, bro. And it was all because of the business card, because I put we buy, sell, invest. I didn't have LLC. And I didn't identify myself as an investor on the card.
Did you not have an LLC at the time, or you just didn't have it listed on your card?
I didn't have an LLC at the time.
So just you doing you.
Yeah, and so at the time my company was called We Buy Houses, and I just put Inc. Again, I didn't know, because I'm also trying to do, and a lot of wholesalers don't realize this, is that we're all trying to make ourselves more legitimized
right,
and more credible, presentable.
So you just had a DBA then? You just bought
I had a DBA.
Registered name?
Yep, and so they said, hey, where's the Inc.? And I was like, where's the corporation? And I was like, well, that was just marketing. They were like, so there's misrepresentation. And so I said, damn it, okay, so I need to tighten up. So after that, man, I now include everything on the card. And
another thing you said that caught my attention, you said that the title company was recording conversations. Yeah. Is that normal?
Well, every time you walk into a company, it's you spaz out and you kill everybody because you're not happy about what you're taking home. It's recorded.
Oh, that's okay.
The cameras, not the conversation, but there's
the conversation, right?
Yeah,
okay. Video. Okay, I thought you meant they were recording your audio. Like, dang, that's crazy.
Yeah,
so
she
had a
put
company.
Yeah, there's not cooperation when you're driving yourself to the location and you spend 30 minutes.
Right.
You sign paperwork and you walk out, and then you come back again to re-sign some corrections. Title's like, hey, here's video. We didn't pick her up. We never sent no shuttles.
Yeah.
And I was good to this lady, dude. I took her breakfast. I tried to help her get her a job. I bought cat food for her empty home full of cats. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, man. And so when that happened, I was like, man, I was so good to this lady. It made me kind of pull back on being as human to everybody, because I realized that not everybody's good.
It's a fine line, man. It's a fine line between human, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Heartstrings pulling on whenever we go to the house, the way they live, the way they need money, and the kids you see. At the same time, you're still running a business.
Mm-hmm.
So you being the business owner of your company, it's tough to have that fine line. And Skylar's actually really good at that fine line when it comes to it. Because, I mean, sometimes emotion gets the best of us, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to business first, because that's what we're doing, I'm a good human being. But if I'm the owner of a company, that's the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get the emotions out. So
yeah.
Great. I mean, I didn't know that story either.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. You ever thought about investing in real estate but assumed you needed perfect credit, a huge savings account, or a bank willing to say yes? That's exactly why we're excited to partner with our guy Mike Leyva at Conventus. Conventus is a real estate lender built specifically for investors and not homeowners. They help people fund deals like fix and flips, buy and hold rentals, and even ground up construction. And here's the part most beginners don't realize. Conventus doesn't lend based on your W-2 income or your personal credit score. They focus on the deal itself, the value of the property, and the numbers behind it. That means investors can often access higher loan amounts and more flexible terms than a traditional bank, sometimes with rates that are more competitive than people expect. So instead of asking, do I qualify? The better question becomes, is this a good deal? If you're serious about getting into real estate investing and want a funding partner that truly understands investors, reach out to our go-to guy at Conventus, Mike Leva, today using the link in the show notes and see how real estate investors are actually getting deals funded. Let's talk about, let's move forward to, let's keep it wholesaling, right? Because I mean, primarily wholesaling is what you're doing, right? I know you're doing flipping and title, but primarily wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest wholesale fee?
Um,
And how'd you get it?
I wouldn't say it's not that big. I think my biggest wholesale fee today was probably like 90 grand. 90 grand. I think what's been good is that I've had big months because that was just one. Like
One deal. And
yeah, that was just one deal. But I think big months wise, I mean, we've hit a $250,000 a month before. And then we've had one recently, but it fell apart with some title work. But
That 90 grand, what's the deal on that one?
that one was a piece of land. So that one was a land, and it had 3 houses on it. They were 3 multi-family houses. There was duplexes in each one, and it was really close in proximity to downtown. And so California investors came in and they renovated those and they added structures on there. Oh, you know what? No, we had another one. So it was another one that we did. It was the same price, and it was in Southtown, right next to the Kunstler Brewery. There's 3 giant buildings there, and I did that with New Western. My wife always tells me, if you made that much, can you imagine how much they made? And that hit me, bro. After that, I was like, man. So I developed the shit out of a buyer's list, because she would be like, hey, you must have left something on the table, because they were calling, bro. And now we pass by and we see the most beautiful structures there.
That's cool, man.
Sounds like if somebody's watching this podcast, seems like California's buying up all
I
of
know,
San
right?
Antonio.
The deal we did was a California buyer, and all the
Yeah.
other big deals you did were California buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how that interacts where we're at, especially with this whole Project Marva deal, right?
Yep.
It just got passed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
Next
I mean,
phase,
people already speaking behind the scenes on where to buy, how long to hold. I mean, I was watching Project Marva was this big corporation with the Spurs, and they passed this big bill.
Downtown, they're going to
it's gonna be
revitalize
live.
downtown,
Revitalize
build a baseball.
San Antonio architect in San Antonio skyline has been old school for a long time. You go to Austin, there's glass windows, big, huge buildings. San Antonio always try to keep that look to
Historic
it, if you will.
Alamo.
So this is a big deal for the one for the Spurs and 2 for the city.
Yeah.
But everyone around, if you're a real estate investor, and they just passed it 2 days ago, yesterday,
Yeah, 2 days ago.
2 days ago, right? Now's the time to buy. I mean, that's the stuff. If you guys are not in San Antonio, look for deals like that and foresee the future. Like, hey, that neighborhood, because technically it's the hood, right?
Yep, yep.
Where that,
Yeah.
technically it's the hood.
Yeah.
You can buy low now and imagine
It's
how
been
much.
on the come up for a decade or so, but it's
it did
still-
come up and
yeah,
then went
it's
back
still-
down with the market and everything. But that whole area, I mean, buy now and then hold on to it.
Yeah.
If you're in a position to do so, because in 5 years, I'm sure that
gonna be
value
Yeah, that's a
will-
good point. Anytime you see in your local area, if like for San Antonio, when Toyota was announcing, hey, we're going to build a plant there, you know, for the next 5-10 years, there's going to be jobs and stuff around there, or
Yeah.
you know, Project Marvel. So in your local city, whenever some big project gets announced,
It's gonna
as
make
an
it
investor,
good.
you want to be mindful of that. And so when you're watching your local news and you see, you know, whoever the company is, Toyota, USAA, anybody coming in, building a new headquarters, building a new whatever,
Yeah.
that's probably an area that you'd want to look into and start investing for buy and holds right then and there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's next for River City?
Right now, what we're doing is really perfecting some of this stuff with the AI. Since, like I said, since our camp is really small and we're really doing title abstraction, I think that with what we're doing with that and term deals, I really don't need a big camp because the margins are different than wholesale. And so with those margins, it allows me to have more flexibility. And so what we're doing now is just basically holding and creating notes. And so what she was saying now is, so we got a distressed property. It's literally 4 minutes from downtown on Blaine Street. There was probably maybe about 11 heirs. We located all of them. I got the whole property for about $16,000. It's worth about $170, and it's downtown. And I was gonna sell it, but now, you know, obviously Project Marvel, we're like, hey, I'm gonna keep it.
Right.
And we got it through doing that distressed work of following the title abstract and following stuff. And so since we've been doing it, we've probably been focusing on it along with wholesale, and we found a really good momentum niche with this thing. So for us, I think it's going to be a lot of term deals. I'm going to create a lot of notes and sell those deals, bro. Because I think where the market's going, you got to provide a little bit more than just traditional wholesale. And if you can sell somebody like you guys that do a lot of flips, and I'm like, hey, here's a great deal on terms. You guys might be able to flip it, hold it. I mean, it just opens up y'all's channels to so much more. And the fees are still the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's on terms. You know what I mean? It goes faster, too.
It does go faster, especially if you're doing zero interest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Real Estate Hero. What's the meaning behind that? How's that branding coming? How'd you incorporate that? What's the details on that?
So Real Estate Hero kind of came into play when I always just felt like I was saving the day on some crappy deal. Or somebody would call me and be like, man, call Anthony, because if anybody's going to sell this crappy deal, it's him. And then it just was the title work, and I was like, man, it's like I'm a hero to this stuff. And I just started going off, you know? And so it just came into play from there. My wife started designing a little funny character, and you can see my big forehead in it. And we had super fun doing it, man. And so now when I work with sellers, they get a kick out of it. And they're like, yeah, I couldn't sell this without you. Or, hey, you've been the kindest person, the nicest person. And what are heroes? They're nice, right? Usually they're kind. And, you know, it was a way for me to kind of feel like, hey, guys, I'll be the hero. And, you know, through that corniness, it added some kind of validity of them just liking it, man. And then from there, it developed its own brand, bro. And so now what we're trying to do is teach how to do wholesaling the transparent way. And so what my whole goal in wholesaling that I'm trying to get out there is my trilateral sales strategy, which teaches a wholesaler to read a script honest and to be honest with the seller. And you're going to sell more. You're going to stay compliant. You're not going to worry about lawsuits because you're totally legit. So when you're on Facebook, they're cool with it because you told them.
So let's break that down, because I know what you're talking about, because I've seen your stuff. You tell the sellers you're going to wholesale.
Tell them.
Yeah.
I tell them.
How do you phrase it?
A lot of people don't.
A lot of wholesalers don't want to. They're on that mindset, no, if I can't tell them, they're not going to sign the contract. They're not going to move forward. You've been in the game long enough. What's the difference between telling a seller and not telling a seller?
The difference is if you tell the seller, they're most likely to do two things. They're either going to walk or they're going to know why you told them. And when they tell them why you told them, and you tell them because I know that other people have already didn't tell you, I don't want to be just like them. And so the difference is that in me being transparent, it allows me to put it on Facebook. It allows me to text it. It allows me to move it without anybody coming back and saying, hey, what's this picture, man? It looks like you're selling my house. Or they call you upset. And so as soon as I get on the phone call, I tell them what we're going to do, what our company is. We might find you a deal. I mean, we might find you a buyer.
What's that look like when you're talking to them? What's that conversation like?
So when I get on the phone with them, the first thing I do is I'm going to tell them who our company is and what we do. And I'm basically telling them, hey, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer you 3 distinctive offers for your property. I'm going to give you a cash offer that our company will personally pay because it's within our metrics. The second thing I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you a creative term deal that maybe might meet your end goal on your sales price. And if I can meet your sales price through terms, you know, we'll give you that offer. And the third thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and novate it for them. And what I do is I tell them in that novation, there's no realtor commission, there's no closing cost. I take care of the photos. So I'm packaging what I'm doing in 3 steps. And then I tell them at the very end of that, here's the big one, right? I say, and if none of those 3 work for you, ma'am, what our company does is we actually can market the property for you, and we can reach out to a group of our financing investors who your asking price might fit their metrics. And if so, we'll get the deal done and meet your end sales goal if that's okay. So what that entails is me marketing it for you, and it could be through Face, and they're totally fine.
Yeah.
Because I tell them at the end of the day, ma'am, our goal is still met. You still get your property sold, whether I buy it or it's on terms or I list it or I sell it.
Yeah.
I told them. And so after that, she's cool. And so now we're getting 90 days to sell a property through transparency.
Yep. That's awesome.
That's really, really good. One, the way you flow it out is really good. 2, keeps everything transparent. So now you don't have that fear that a lot of wholesalers do. Don't put it on Facebook. Don't do this. I don't want the seller to see. Because we JV with people sometimes, and the marketing channels we do, and I think you experience what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
is when we JV with some people and the way they pitch it, we have no control of, right? When we're JVing or joint venturing, we're in charge of dispo. I don't know what they're telling the sellers, what is going on, and we get the phone calls, why is my house for sale? Why do we see it for 100 grand on Facebook, whatever the case may be? So doing it your way, one, proven process is really, really good. So
It works. And what's
Yeah.
even cooler is that sometimes we go the extra mile and say, hey, would you mind if we put a sign in the yard? Now they're cool with it. You know what I mean? Because we're going to manage all the call flow.
An easy way to do it, I was taught with somebody else, was basically, I don't do wholesaling, but for anybody out there who wants some free game, is you call them, ask them what their price is, right? And they're going to give you a price. And then you're going to ask them, number two, do you prefer speed or do you prefer top dollar? Okay, well, I need to sell it really fast. Well, then you already know kind of, where you're going.
Yeah.
And then number three, do you care who buys it? No.
I like
Well,
that.
if you don't care who buys it, then what do you care if I market it? What do you care if I novate it? What do you care if I sell it to a wholesaler? What do you care if I buy and flip it?
The
And so once you get
sales
those
goals
three
matter.
answers, hey, I want 100,000. I need to sell it really fast. And do you care who buys it? Do you care if I'm the one that buys it? No. Okay, cool. So you get those three answers down, and bam, bam, you just set yourself up for
Summarized it all, man. I love that.
quick and easy.
I love that.
it doesn't mean wholesale.
Right?
It doesn't mean wholesale. That's stuff you get in the Hustle Academy.
I like it, man. That's where you'll get that in the
The
Hustle Academy.
So speaking about the Hustle Academy, man, I'm about three things: wholesale, flip, sub two. Wholesale, my guy Frank. We talked about Frank before we started this conversation. Frank holds down the wholesaling side, and he spent a lot of time in understanding the ins and outs of wholesaling. When it comes to the flipping, Skylar took over that division, handles all the flips from start to finish. And then sub twos, man, I just love sub twos, so I handle the sub twos. So you get the trio, right? And wholesale, flip, sub twos. That's my hustle. What would you say your hustle is?
My hustle, I would say, is wholesale, terms, and title abstraction. I think for where we're going now and how successful we've been at this, I think that's where it's at, bro. In probably less than 90 days, we've accumulated. How many properties do you think we own now?
Like from in total?
From all the abstraction work we've done.
Just from this
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we've accumulated 5 properties. 5 properties is what we've got in less than 90 days that we own,
Did you hold on to?
that we're gonna hold on to, or some of them we could probably sell. Well, I want to hold on to one. So there's a couple, but on average, those
Nice to have
margins.
the options, right?
Yeah, the margins on these things are going to be anywhere from 70 to 130 grand each home, and so that right there allows us to free up capital to go put back into wholesale. But wholesale is always going to be the money printer. Wholesale always is going to be there because you're going to use that fund to convert it
Right.
into something else. It's just a cash conversion cycle.
It's
And
the
so
capital to do what you got to do.
yeah, so some people are like, oh, I don't do wholesale no more. Why not keep that revenue stream on? It makes no sense. It's still a revenue stream. Just like sub two, flipping. Now you got 3 streams instead of like one being super successful, forgetting one. It's like, nah, let's just increase it.
Remember, he goes, you guys watching when Anthony's looking outside, it's Erica. Remember, they're a pair, right? So that power
yeah.
couple. He's asking the true boss, hey, how many houses we get and all that good stuff. So again, shout out to Erica.
And she's the one who's really killing it, bro. When
Yeah?
I've been focusing a lot on the wholesale side, but she pretty much is really good at the abstraction part, and I pretty much will just close. And between the two, man, it's been a marriage even on the real estate side, bro.
That's really cool. That's really cool to see, and that's what the true definition of turn up the hustle is, right? You guys are doing it together. Now, you know me, the slogan, this podcast, this motto, it's not a slogan, it's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. Turn up the hustle has always been strong, near and dear to my heart. Who knows what it means to me? What, in your words, Anthony, what does turn up the hustle mean to you?
Man, turn up the hustle means that you can't fail, bro. You gotta persevere through whatever it is you're facing. You just gotta put your head down, put a helmet on, and get through it. That's how I see it. Like, you turn it up, go through it, bro.
Turn up and go through it, man. Definitely a pleasure having you on this podcast, right? A lot of good,
Great, yeah.
a lot of good knowledge. A lot
I've
of good
known you for a
bars.
little while, but
Yeah.
didn't know
All the ins and outs,
yeah,
right, man. I've known you
ins
for
and
5
outs
years, and I didn't even know all the ins and outs, man.
And gotta
So-
be honest, man. A lot
Yeah.
of people try to not be honest and authentic, and I'm
Why?
like, man.
Why do you think?
I think sometimes people can get so caught up in their own branding that they can sometimes shy away from what they think might not work, and not realizing that if you're authentic, someone is most likely going to identify with me getting a lawsuit than me to sit here and say I own a jet.
Yep.
They're most likely to identify. And so being authentic gets you that way. And the other thing I learned is, man, you can't lie, bro. Everything comes back to bite you if you do.
Everything's public record, right?
Everything's public records, man. Everything's public records. So just be real, and you're most likely to grow. That's what I love about you guys, man. Y'all stay so authentic to everything you do. The value you're dropping, Hustle Academy is going to be crazy. It's going to change the game.
Definitely gonna change the game.
If you had one piece of advice to give a new investor, you got a lot of people who want to get in the game, who still have a 9 to 5 or whatever. You had one piece of advice that would get them across that line to give them the push to actually to go all in on it.
I would say invest in a mentor. Invest in somebody who you know has a track record of getting it done, such as these guys who are putting together Hustle Academy. And I say that not just because they're really good friends of mine, but they have track records. And you don't have to use these guys if you don't want to, but find somebody that is a mentor that you know is really doing it, not somebody that's just branding themselves on Instagram. Someone's really doing it. Pay the money because it's worth it. You're basically paying for the experience, and you're paying to not take the pain that they went through. So it's worth every dollar.
Well, there you have it, man. Real Estate Hero, definitely a pleasure for myself. I love to have you on this podcast. Let's Skylar finish it out. But again, man, always a pleasure. Want to see you in a
Appreciate
deal.
y'all for having me.
Good for always doing deals together. So let's do more. With
Let's
that being
go.
said, man, Skylar, go
Where
ahead.
can people find you if they want to find you?
They can find me on Instagram at realestate_hero. They can find me on TikTok, realestate_hero. Almost every social media is going to be at Real Estate Hero. Website, rivercitypropertysolutions.com if you guys need some title work. Let's do it.
Well, there you have it. That's been another great episode of the Turn Up the Hustle podcast. Hope you got lots of value out of it and are getting ready to start your real estate investing journey. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you find value, and we will see you on the next one. And as always, turn up the hustle.
There it is.
Let's go.